I'm Joanna. Welcome to my channel. This is my 24th video. Today I'm going to review 4 books, 3 fiction, 1 nonfiction. Let's get started. The first book is The Automatic Noodle by Annalee Newitz. Now, I think this author used to be a journalist, and now, she's an author. She lives in San Francisco, and that's basically where the setting takes place. Although it is a future San Francisco, I think it's in like the 2060 time period. And so what happens is that San Francisco won their independence from the USA. And so it was just like 4 or 5 years after the war. And these robots at that time, they had some rights, not a lot. They were, had a lot of restrictions on them. But there's 4 robots, and they worked in a restaurant prior to the war, and they wanted to reopen the restaurant. Anyway, through loopholes, they were able to do this. They actually had some wonderful dishes that they created, and that is the gist of the story. But because they were bots, they did experience a lot of discrimination, a lot of attacks on social media, etc. So the dialogue among the robots was fun and stretched my imagination. The ending is nice too. However, the novel did fall flat for me. There was another novel out there some time ago. I read the Murderbots series, and that was just great. So I really wanted to like this novel. I kept waiting for the novel to gain momentum, to become more interesting, and again, it fell flat. I give this novel 2.5 stars. Novel number 2, The Compound by Rawle. This is a story about a reality show. It's about 10 women and 10 men, well actually 9. One was unable to make it to the compound. But in this reality show, in order for the contestants to stay on the show, they have to couple up with a partner. And if someone goes home, it only makes the coupling harder. So that is one challenge of this reality show. The second one is that you never know who to trust. So there are undertones the author gives of a dystopia outside the compound, and so it gives a survival of the fittest attitude for the contestants, so they can stay in and reap those small luxury items and eventually win the ultimate prize. As in all reality shows, the atmosphere is toxic because it's a dog-eat-dog world and a self-centered world, right? Everybody is competing, for themselves. The story is told in the voice of the main character, and I personally did not like her throughout the novel, but you give people a chance to be understood, and you kind of understand why they behave the way they do, and I ended up, appreciating her at the end. It seems like with reality shows, everyone can identify because each of us are just reacting. We're digging deep to see who we are and how we can survive. It's kind of frightening because I'm secretly hoping I wouldn't do half the things that people do on the reality show, but one never knows until you're there. I really enjoyed the author's writing, her prose. She writes descriptively. You really feel like you are part of the show. And it's a thriller. It's a page turner. I give this 5 stars. Book number 3, All the Words We Know by Bruce Nash. This is an appropriate title because it's told in the voice of a woman with dementia. And it's a sweet story. The setting is in an assisted living compound or facility. And so Rose is the main character. Rose has a son, and he's in charge of her finances. She has a daughter who has 2 daughters. So her granddaughters and her daughter and her son visit once a week. So as a reader, we get insight to Rose's world, what it's like to live with a degenerate brain. Her words are constantly getting confused and mixed up in her head. Instead of, for example, care manager, she'll refer to him as a scare manager. And most of the novel is like that, and that makes it hilarious and a fun read. So Rose had a friend that she used to play Scrabble with, and her friend is missing. And Rose becomes confused. Then she becomes suspicious. She knows something bad has happened to her friend, and now she's suspicious because other bad things are happening to other residents. Now Rose has lucid moments, and at those times she is trying to get her daughter, her son, or somebody she trusts in the facility and tell her story or what she believes is happening, but no one will take her seriously. This author tells a very compelling story. It's interesting. I was curious, emotionally invested, and I was constantly, sympathetic with Rose and her plight. I know there's mixed reviews out there on this novel. I recommend it. I give this 4.5 stars. Book number 4, my nonfiction book, Of Boys and Men by Richard Reeves. So the author writes about the social effects on boys and men. He says that men, or boys, are struggling more and more in the classrooms, and that they are just more and more vulnerable today. And so he contends that it has nothing to do with women overcoming their challenges and becoming more successful today, but he believes that men are succeeding less and less. The question is, why? He offers many reasons as to why this is happening. Societal attitude seems to be a big one. He shows evidence and has lots of statistics, to give us a glimpse of what's happening out there to boys. I appreciate that it is not a competition between male and female. I do think it's important to pay close attention to the unique issues of both genders. One solution, according to the author, is to build a positive vision of masculinity, and he offers ways in how to do that. In this way, it will improve society as a whole, he says. And I believe this is a very impactful book. I think it's an important read for all of us, mothers and teachers. I don't disagree with him. I have 3 sons. I give this book 4 stars.